It is Monday, the first day of May 2023. Hello there and welcome from me, Rukiddi Kinjanangoma, to News Tonight here on UBC TV. First though, let's have a look at our top stories. Corruption Unit for Investor Operations. Persons living with disabilities using pupils to smuggle goods at Busia border. A widely anticipated spring counter-offensive in Ukraine will push on without American fighter jets. And in sports, 276 players from several schools participate in the Decode Inter-Schools Chess Championship. Hello there and welcome once again. We are coming to you live online on air from Broadcast House here on Nile Avenue. Now, President Yoweri Museveni has warned political and civil servants who are corrupt. He says evidence shows that they have been a major setback in the country's journey to development. Mr. Museveni was addressing this year's International Labour Day celebrations held in Namutumba District. Robert Onyango reports.
The transport, the factories.
Why
did they come here? They came here because mainly of security. And also because of the government policies of liberalization. That's why they flocked in. But now we have got two enemies whom I am going to fight, and you will hear the fight. Mugenda kuwulira omusayi ogunaaveeyo. Because these two are corrupt politicians and civil servants.
Na abalyenguzi ab'ebyobufuzi n'abakozi ba government.
These are the ones interfering with your future.
Abo n'abakutetenkanya eby'omu maiso byammwe.
Byeimwe byeisu nange mwendi
ebyekula ebyaife
ebyeisu onomusaza tamanyi nto olulamu ndumaite ebyeisu ebyaife. These are the ones who are disturbing the investors, asking for bribes.
Bano nabakusumbuwa bansiga sente nga benda enguzi.
Are all delayed decisions.
Abo abaluisao okusalawo.
Baluisao. Kikyuse bulungi ekyo.
Baluisao okusalawo.
Yes.
Insalawo.
So, two, bribes and delay decision making.
Bibiri. Ekisoka okuliisaawo okusalawo, ekyokubiri okulya enguzi.
As the minister was saying, both of them raise the cost of doing business in Uganda.
Nga minisita bw'akobye ebyo byombi byongera omuwendo ogw'okukola business mu Uganda.
So I am using this Labour Day to tell everybody that we are going to have a big fight
alikosa olunaku lw'abakozi luno kubakubera nti wajja kubaawo ensiitaano enene.
I'm going to set up another small unit
ajja kwongera okugundawo akabondo akatono
in my office
mu yafeesi ye
where the investors can ring directly.
bamusiga nsimbi we banaakubanga essimu agazira
If anybody asks them for a bribe
omuntu yenna nabasaba enguzi
or delays the decision,
oba alwisizaawo ensalawo
like this tax group, so-called, there's some group in URA who go and intercept goods of these traders.
waliwo akabondo mu URA akajanga kemereza ebingira
And say, I will charge you so much, but if you give me a bribe, I will charge you less.
webakuba bati ndakugereka diti aye bwompaamu ndakendezaako.
That was President Yoweri Museveni talking tough there in as far as fighting corruption is concerned, and of course giving public servants a warning to stop or else. Now, the Prime Minister, Robin Anabanja, has instructed resident district commissioners and internal security personnel to verify all persons selected to benefit from the parish development model in Kakumiro district. Now, this follows reports from the public that some people who are benefiting from PDM are well-to-do but at the expense of the poor. We have more in this story.
During her community mobilization on government programs in the sub-counties of Bwanswa, Kasambia, Kisengwe and Kakumiro Town Council, the residents told the Prime Minister that the selection of beneficiaries is not favouring the poor and many have been left out. The Prime Minister Robin Anabanja told the public that the President introduced the parish development model to serve 39% of the households outside the money economy by giving money as capital to engage in productive ventures.
Enterprise amanya ago gabijja kubeera approved by the RDC. Mubataka bajja kubayita bwe bati banaabayita mujje bwe mulabamu omugagga mugaane mwanyetetereza abantu engeri twabyerindamu n'engeri twayikala nabyo ab'okubanga mumenge tugamba tukabikwatawo kandi naye tebikututulugunya ati kusaba bisomo ekumiseemu liko abantu tumanye engeri tulatuula n'ebiteera ebyo. Nabanja held 9 meetings with the residents at different locations to assess the implementation of government programs, but also listened to the issues affecting them regarding service delivery. However, in some areas, the PDM beneficiaries gave testimony that they have received the money and have already procured inputs and domestic animals to improve their livelihoods.
Abashuma bakulu baraziba yekagura membuzi embuzi ndarara nazo munju tikazomba kire kiju
okafuna zinga
afuna miliyoni emu
mutere mu
membuzi 3 nempuni 3
nora
empuni 3 kongazi jo mitwara abiri ate zindi na ingayika ebinyobwa nagura mu mubazi empunu nkagura empunina kwise n'inzombekera kugira ngo ebitwara gaine bibariko byaba.
Some of Kakumiro residents there, of course, appreciating the PDM, and they have just been telling us what they have so far used that money for. Now let's go to Busia, and it's rather not so good news from that area where authorities in Busia District are worried about the increasing number of child dropouts in schools. They say some parents and other persons with disabilities at the border are using disabled children to smuggle goods on wheelchairs. Take a watch.
omwana bwasaba omulema namugamba nti tusindikeko omulema tasobola kugaana naye ng'obuzibu n'okugere ku abazadde balesa abaana baabwe abaana babonaabona.
Authorities say that in Busia District, teachers have tried to keep learners in school, although some parents at the border are using children and other persons with disabilities to smuggle goods on their wheelchairs, hence the dropout in schools.
When you look at the unemployment rate, it is high. Some of these children are from families where they are seeing their brothers and sisters seated at home, perhaps even making chapatis. So the conditions of that kind of example is not giving well to these learners, and they are ending up actually going to make quick monies.
And on this year's International Labour Day celebrations, Wafula James, Chairman, Busia District Farmers Association, Muhwana Junior Teacher, Busia Border Primary School, Ojambo Joseph, Chairman, Boda Busia District, and Sanya Asuman, Chairman, Special Hire Drivers, Busia District, condemn persons with disabilities at Busia Border for using children in their businesses.
Some of the children also don't attend school because of the market days. Some of the market days come during weekday, and some of the runners during those days, their attendance is low because of that problem. The benefit of children being kept at school, they should sensitize them by giving them knowledge on why learners should not be involved in such business, because that is child labor.
With all stakeholders, police, abakozi ba government, local government, whatever, today and okusomesa abaana bano bonna abakola amagendo n'abaveeyo bakomeyo babeere basome.
Batukuukiranga ku baana okubakozesa nga be balaba nti be balayisi era omwana ayinza okusindika okuva e Kenya n'atuusa e Uganda n'aba nga amuwaddeyo oluusi 10.
When contacted for a comment, Busia District Senior Education Officer Baraza Gamaliari Makanga says smuggling has affected the education standards of Busia District, with smuggling causing 25% of the children to drop out of school.
To matters now pertaining to health, and over 600 people have participated in the first of a 2-day open wellness clinic organized by Mulago National Referral Hospital, Directorate of Medicine and Pediatrics, under the theme Health for All. Mulago Wellness Day is for the general public to know their health status for proper case management.
75% of the diseases that affect Ugandans are preventable. This is the reason why Mulago National Referral Hospital organized an open day clinic for the general public to know their health status. A number of dignitaries and general public use the day to screen and test for various health conditions, and were also taught on how to live healthy by nutritional talks and immunization for the children. The Director General, Minister of Health, Dr. Henry Mwebasa, urged the public to take advantage of the open day clinic.
You know, in the last survey which was done, it was found that 25% of the population is hypertensive, but about 80% of them did not actually know that they were hypertensive. So that is as bad as that. And there are also very many people who are diabetic and they don't know. They go there, they complain, they are drinking too much water, they are overeating, they are drinking water. Some of them even start complaining even of feeling feverish. It is when they come and they are picked in the hospital, and usually it's late. They are picked when the complications are already high. So such clinics are really very important.
Board member at Mulago National Referral Hospital, Patrick Bisatule, said the hospital plans to have a wellness clinic every quarter of the year to provide free health care to the public.
To embrace the culture of circumcising young boys as soon as they are born, 1 week or thereabouts. It's just good health practice for cleanliness and good health. The goal for this day is to provide specialist services, which include screening for different medical conditions and treatment with a theme of health for all. Let's leave nobody behind. A healthy nation is a wealthy nation. We will remain a struggling country if we do not address the health issues that plague our country.
The acting executive director, Mulago National Referral Hospital, Dr. Rosemary Byanyima, noted that the hospital runs 14 clinics on a daily basis with a turn-up of over 100 patients. Mulago Wellness Clinic, a 2-day free medical camp, ends on Tuesday, May 2nd. Dr. Charles Ayume, Chairperson Health Committee at Parliament, is expected to be the guest of honor. Zahara Abigawa, UBC News.
Very good initiative there by Mulago National Referral Hospital, and if you can, you should actually go and, check your health status, because you never know, you could be moving but with a serious illness. To neighboring DRC now, where troops from Ugandan contingent serving under the East Africa Community Regional Force have today deployed in the key area of Mabenga following a reconnaissance which the contingent conducted on Sunday, April 23rd in the general areas of Kahunga and Mabenga to facilitate the execution of the mission of the East Africa Regional Force in North Kivu, the DRC. This is in compliance with the decision and consideration of 20th Extraordinary Summit of the East African Community Heads of State held in Bujumbura, Burundi on the 4th of February 2023 and the East African Chief of Defense Forces meeting of the 9th of February 2023 respectively. The summit directed for the serial withdrawal and deployment of the East African Community Regional Force and the deployment of the troops in areas vacated by M23. The M23 have withdrawn from Bunagana, Rutshuru territory, that is Kiwanja and Mabenga general areas, to enable the monitoring of peace process and report violations.
Jerry Con! Jerry Con! Hey, Master Blaster! Touch him, man! Bang Jerry Con with muscle! Those ones who say go for you only. Mundava! Best movies I teach you. But never come up with the muscari. Because of the camera is very far. Is you serious? It's serious you. What? Eh? You step it on it. Add kilometers to your legs. And you get your sugar. We buy meat from Umaru. And Umaru refuse to give you enough meat. Mama! Show him that they don't joke with you. Umaru, Jerry card.
Okukakaluka n'okulungi kwetaagako omuntu akuyambako, n'olwekyo tujja kukuteerawo embeera esaanidde osobole okukola ekisinga awamu teri kitulema.
The Ministry of Energy and Mineral Development, under the auspices of the East African Community, will host the 10th East African Petroleum Conference and Exhibition 2023 from the 9th to the 11th of May 2023 at the Kampala Serena Hotel in Uganda. Take full advantage of the investment opportunities in the East African region's vibrant oil and gas sector. To find out more on how to sponsor, exhibit, or attend the 10th EAPCE 23, visit www.eapce23.eac.int.
Iwakato, this is a quick call. I'm almost out of minutes.
Why rush through such important conversations? Airtel Uganda has made it possible for you to call across all networks in Uganda. New Bona voice bundles. Stay connected anytime, anywhere, with minutes valid for calls on all networks. Dial *100*1#. Select voice bundles and select Bona voice bundles today. Airtel, the smartphone network.
At Timex Nutrition Center, we advise you on the right foods to eat, exercise profile to adopt, and lifestyle strategies which are compatible to your blood group and genotype. This empowers your body to prevent and treat many diseases like diabetes, blood pressure, arthritis, ulcers, obesity, and many others. For more information, find us at our head office in Kampala on Nassa Road, Conrad Plaza, 2nd floor, or call 0758 819 952 or 0778 288 361. We also have other branches in Bara and Jinja.
Are you tired of high fees and slow transfer time when sending money? Look no further. Airtel Money is here to revolutionize the way you move your money. We have revised our rates, and now sending money from Airtel to other networks in Uganda, East Africa, and to the rest of the world has never been more affordable. Plus, you can trust Airtel Money to get your money where it needs to go quickly and safely. Simply dial *185# and start sending money. Switch to Airtel Money today and experience unbeatable rates and top-notch services for all your local and international money transfer needs. Airtel Money. Instant, secure, borderless.
Welcome back from that break, and this is News Tonight here on UBC TV. My name is Rukiddi Kinjanangoma. Moving on now, we go to Chikube, where the Chikube Resident District Commissioner is stuck with the body of an 85-year-old woman who is part of the over 1,000 people who pitch camped at his office after the 2013 mass eviction from their land located in Bukinda, Changwari, by the office of the Prime Minister. The deceased has been among the many homeless and landless people pitch camping at the RDC's office in Chikube District. However, since last year, 7 people have been reported dead in cold nights on the veranda of the RDC's office. We have more in this story.
Speciosa Bagashechi, an 85-year-old woman, died on the evening after she was involved in an accident at Buhimba Town Council along Hoima Fort Porto Road while returning to the camp from the burial of her relative in PG District. The body of the deceased was picked from the roadside by the residents of Buhimba Town Council and was dumped at the veranda of Buhimba Health Center 3, where it has spent 2 days while they look for where to bury the deceased. Amlan Tumusime, the Chikube Resident District Commissioner, says he is stuck with the body and he does not have land to bury the dead person.
He is now the third person. The first man we suffered to get where to bury him. Unfortunately, some people helped and they took him to Bugangais and buried him there. About a month ago, a kid died. We took 2 days suffering with the kid, stuck with the body. Where are we going to bury the body? Unfortunately, one person helped and gave a small space to bury. Now this 85-year-old woman has died. I don't know, I'm stuck with the body.
Amlan says the president ordered him and the presidential private secretary, Dr. Kenneth Omona, to intervene and establish circumstances that surrounded their eviction. A report was established and submitted to the relevant authorities, but nothing has been done as people continue to die in his presence.
A district cemetery, we don't have it. But why should we even think of that when the president guided very well? 2 months. And now people continue dying. Mobilize the leaders of Chikube District, members of parliament, district chairman, councillors. We take back these people to their land. Because the land is there empty, only being hired for maize growing.
Tumusime has re-appealed to the president to ensure prevail over their fate by either relocating them to their earlier pieces of land or identify a new land on which they can have them resettled.
But the OPM officials, because of their selfish motives, have decided to make them IDPs in their own country.
The conditions here remain unbearable for the people still pitch camped at the RDC's office, seeking for justice from the office of the President and the Prime Minister.
President Yoweri Kaguta Museveni tukentu kusaba ntukwesengereza tuikirize tugaruke omumataka gaitu amataka gaitu galiyo kuwonka abana baitu tebakwega baliyo ndibabonabona enjala era ikutwita enjura.
The people of Bukinda village, Kasonga parish in Changwari sub-county, Chikube district, were evicted by the office of the Prime Minister from the land they claim belonged to them in 2013, accusing them of having settled on the Changwari refugee settlement land.
Navka Farida with that report there. Now let's go back to our lead story of the day, and that is of course the International Labour Day, where President Yoweri Kaguta Museveni has warned political and civil servants who are corrupt. He says evidence shows that they have been a major setback in the country's journey to development. Mr. Museveni was addressing this year's International Labour Day celebrations held in Namutumba district. Now our reporter Robert Onyango gives us the detailed story.
Public servants, private employees, employers and stakeholders have on this Monday, 1st May 2023, gathered in Namutumba district to commemorate this year's Labour Day. Before dignitaries and guests took up their seats, the entertainment lit up the day. Poems about the day were too recited.
Fellow citizens, men and women, yes, plus Sabasukun, despite our hard work, poverty is still seeking more over.
For government officials, they kept walking in one by one. At exactly 11 a.m., the head of the state, His Excellency Yoweri Kaguta Museveni, arrived at the celebration venue. Shortly after the anthems, as it is the norm on such occasions, the President began the parade inspection. This was followed by an inspection of this innovation exhibition. Upon taking up his seat, thereafter speeches commenced.
Are not formal contracts. There is casualization of workers and no social security contribution. And this is heartily and ethically contrary to the theme of this year's celebration.
We strongly believe that the parish development model and Emyoga program are strong catalysts in graduating informal sector.
Other speakers included Ministers Engola and Betty Amongi.
When investors realize that they have to bribe themselves to every stage of approvals and offer kickbacks for every stage of project implementation, they leave a country for other economies that are more transparent.
Thereafter, the President was invited to address the nation.
Now, according to the Minister, she told us that about 10 million or 11 million people have jobs now.
In his address to the nation, His Excellency Yoweri Kaguta Museveni noted with concern of the outcries of the working class.
But I will call a meeting with the labor people and we talk in detail. Because sometimes their thinking does not harmonize well with our thinking.
However, the President says the day should not be reduced to a mere talk of salary and enhancement of workers' working conditions.
So, please, Achiro, while we are talking about the welfare of the few who are already employed, let's really emphasize the question of creating more jobs.
Mr. Museveni says he is set to take tough actions against top government corrupt officials and the political class.
Now, the corruption of the political class and the bureaucratic class, I know who they are. I already have rough reports, but I'm not going to be more detailed. You will hear. But this is not necessary. I want all of you to be part of the future of a new Africa.
He further reveals that another anti-corruption unit, mainly to harmonize investors' operations, is set to be set up and will be desked in State House.
I am using this Labour Day to tell everybody that we are going to have a big fight. I am going to set up another smaller unit in my office where the investors can ring directly. If anybody asks them for a bribe or delays the decision,
Mr. Museveni notes that with all the efforts of ensuring security in the country, there is no reason as to why Uganda cannot jump to another level.
Because they are sucking our blood. So, please, all of you, the parasites and the unpatriotic, Uganda, stop. Because I will definitely collide with you.
The president repeated that time for pleading with corrupt officials is done, and now heads will roll.
I have spent like 4 years fighting Magora's war, begging this one. I will not beg anybody. What I tell you to do, you must do. If you don't do, I will deal with you. The one who was adding value to cotton, to make cotton for the hospitals.
On this occasion, a section of great servicemen and women were decorated with different medals in appreciation of their efforts rendered towards the development of Uganda.
Award of the Nalbari Medal.
The day's celebrations were held on the theme promoting positive work culture and ethics. Robert Onyango, UBC News.
Thanks, Robert Onyango, with that story there. Now, at least 305 Uganda People's Defence Forces, UPDF non-commissioned officers have graduated after a 6-month basic intelligence course at the Military Intelligence School, Mijera, in Nakasongola district. The Chief of Defence Forces, General Wilson Mbasu Mbadi, said that institutions like the UPDF need extension of the eyes and ears to make the right strategic decisions, as we hear in this story.
A group of UPDF non-commissioned officers has completed a basic intelligence course at Military Intelligence School, Mijera, Nakasongola. The course has laid the basic intelligence foundation to address tactical and intelligence matters. General Mbadi advised the fresh graduates to be open to new ideas, strive to be experts in their subject area, and navigate the complex issues they face in their daily work.
The initiative is born out of UPDF's desire to continuously build a professional, effective and efficient force by enhancing your capacity in intelligence work. The eyes, you are the ears, you tell us what is happening to enable us make the correct decisions, to address the situations that you tell us about. And so you really need to be very, very objective when you're doing your work.
He assured soldiers that their welfare was being worked upon, especially their accommodation and salaries. He warned them against careless living.
Be aware that the military operation responsibilities require us to constantly be abreast of the latest practices in what we do. To do this, you must continue to seek to stay ahead all the time with a solid grasp of the work dynamics because they change all the time.
Representing Major General James Birungi, the CMI Brigadier Abdul Rugumayo, the Deputy CMI, said the school still needs support and CMI will present the needs in a phased manner.
Immediate term, this school will therefore continue to focus on improving on the infrastructure requirements so that we are able to meet standards which can accommodate other students, especially allied students and students from other organizations.
The Commandant, School of Intelligence, Lieutenant Colonel James Muhumuza, said the class of 305 students is the biggest ever since the inception of this intelligence training school.
I want to thank the Commander, SFC, who gave us some equipment, the CTR, the CMI, the CROE, and Field Artillery Division Commander, who supported the conduct of the final exercise. I want to inform you, sir, that we shall continue to improve the packages of intelligence training, and this will enable the school to produce intelligence personnel who is able to respond to intelligence demand at any level of command in the contemporary security environment.
The graduates trained in basic skills and intelligence packages, leadership, map navigation, physical fitness, and ideology.
Now, a section of religious and political leaders have questioned the relevance of the anti-corruption agencies in fighting against corruption in the country. Leaders say Uganda has got the best anti-graft agencies, but these have completely failed to wipe out corruption, but they are instead fueling it. While some political leaders fault government over the botched war against corruption, the clergy says there is need to address the issue of morals and integrity among the citizens. Take a watch.
Corruption remains one of the biggest challenges hindering service delivery and development of the country as billions of shillings continue to be stolen annually. However, the presence of multiple anti-corruption agencies charged with fighting and prosecuting the corrupt, their relevancy in fight against corruption remains a matter of concern.
Uganda has the best agencies and departments for fighting corruption, the best. But these very agencies are the most corrupt. The police is corrupt. The courts are corrupt. We have seen corruption in the IGG's office. We have seen corruption in committees of parliament.
Mujuche Francis, the member of parliament for Busia District, says corruption in the country is now systematic, with majority of the citizens turning it into a remedy of survival. He blames the increasing cases of the vice to lack of political will to bring the big spaces to book.
Corruption is linked to the main leadership of this country. It survives on this corruption. The leadership survives on rented support. We bribe in elections. If you bribe, that is corruption. So at the end of the day, the current establishment cannot fight corruption. The only way of fighting corruption is to remove the current establishment and establish a new order.
Corruption manifests itself in many ways, according to Reverend Canon Aaron Mwesije, the Director of Ethics and Integrity in the Office of the President. While many relate corruption to monetary terms, Canon Mwesije also believes immorality is part.
If you are married and you cheat your spouse, remember you are sleeping with a man or a woman who is not your husband and your wife. Therefore, that man is infringing on the rights of another person. And when you infringe on the rights of another person, you are actually corrupt.
Uganda has got 18 anti-corruption agencies, but these are faced with various challenges, among which lack of enough personnel in the DPP's office, which is mandated to sanction case files, political interference with the IGG's mandate to hold individuals accountable for their wealth in line with lifestyle audit.
We have only one anti-corruption court in Uganda, based at Toro, and we have only one DPP. According to the mandate, she is the only person who is supposed to sign sanction personally. When she's out of the country, then there's no delegated authority over that. You can see the challenges we have there.
The remarks were made at the anti-corruption seminar held at Bishop Stuart University in Mbarara, with a call on the youth to be socially upright and engage in social awareness to fight corruption, but also demand for accountability from their leaders.
Besides providing youth with material and technical support, we should encourage them to engage in social awareness. Listen to this. Social awareness projects and activities.
Because it is the population that will demand of leaders to either stop corruption or leave governance or leave leadership. It will not be the corrupt to fight corruption. It will be the young people, the youth, to demand for fairness, for justice and equal opportunities.
Can I repeat?
The youth, they are being asked to take the lead in as far as fighting corruption in this country is concerned. And we'll remain in Western Uganda momentarily, and we go to Toro region, where Toro Kingdom has partnered with Cross-Cultural Foundations of Uganda and the Kogere Foundation to engage the youth in schools and embrace their cultural heritage. Now, these want government to introduce cultural heritage lessons on the school's curriculum.
Through heritage clubs in schools, the youth are taught to appreciate culture and revive culture activities overtaken by the modern culture. The initiative to revive culture in Toro Kingdom comes at a time when the youth are overtaken by the modern culture, forgetting their own mother culture.
One thing that we have found is that there is a very big link between culture and the young people especially, and that has contributed a lot to the violence that we've seen escalating within the different communities.
According to Peter Sandersoke, the Minister for Culture in Toro Kingdom, this aims at bringing the youth on board in promotion and development of culture under the 25 years of Toro Kingdom Development Agenda.
The King, Dr. Oyonyimba Kabambaiguru Rukiddi IV, launched his 25 agenda program of development targeting the youth and installation of ICT premise. It's also going to help us a lot to see that we are all interlinked world over.
Vasemera Alice, the Executive Director, Kogere Foundation, says cultural heritage clubs in different schools have already been introduced, where students compete in different cultural activities.
So we decided to come up with Mr. and Miss Heritage, so that the younger generation, they will keep fighting for that. They will keep trying to know their family trees, so that tomorrow they can also win Mr. or Miss Heritage.
Activities include traditional crafts making, molding, traditional dances, heritage contests, among others. Students have already learned different skills, and some are already earning from culture.
At some point they bring for us magazines, the cultural heritage magazines. We get to know how things are done from different people, especially our elders who are still around.
Have got them the market to sell their products. Then others have joined the cultural troupe. They are the people who earn, they are living from there.
Stakeholders say introducing cultural heritage lessons on the school curriculum will enable students learn their different cultures from schools.
If we at least incorporate heritage information in the curriculum for schools, that would go a long way to at least utilize the school as a space to nurture and teach the young ones.
News Tonight takes yet another short break, and we'll be returning with business. Stay with us.
Talk with freedom. Get MTN Freedom voice bundles that don't expire. Dial *100 *21# or my MTN app for more bundles. Together, we're unstoppable.
This isn't just a girl. She is the future. This is a teacher, a doctor, a community leader, our future president.
Their support meant so much to me. And as a teenage girl, I stayed focused and was protected from child marriage and teenage pregnancy. I will support other girls against child marriage and teenage pregnancy.
Take action. Report any case of defilement or child marriage to the police or call Sauti 116.
Glow as you are with the new Spark 10 series smartphone from Airtel in partnership with Tecno. Own the timelines with picture-perfect selfies using the 32-megapixel selfie camera, 256GB storage, G88 gaming processor, and a strong battery to last the whole day. Towakana.
The Spark 10 smartphone comes with free 3GB from Airtel and 100% bonus on weekly and monthly bundles every month for 3 months, so you can stay connected to a world of possibilities. Dial *100*5# to enjoy free data. The new Spark 10 is available in all selected Tecno shops countrywide. Airtel, the smartphone network in partnership with Tecno. Stop at nothing.
At Timex Nutrition Center, we advise you on the right foods to eat, exercise profile to adopt, and lifestyle strategies which are compatible to your blood group and genotype. This empowers your body to prevent and treat many diseases like diabetes, blood pressure, arthritis, ulcers, obesity, and many others. For more information, find us at our head office in Kampala on Nassa Road, Conrad Plaza, 2nd floor, or call 0758 819 952 or 0778 288 361. We also have other branches in Bara and Jinja.
Welcome back. Let's have a look now at the latest in business. We begin in Morocco, where leaders and vendors in Morocco municipality want government to centralize resources for local governments. This follows 3 months of no water and electricity for Morocco Central Market. The mayor of Morocco municipality, Mohamed Ismail, says the municipality used to collect over 13 million shillings quarterly and use the money to manage its amenities.
It is now over 3 months vendors in Morocco Central Market, Morocco Municipality, operate without water and electricity. Vendors operating salons, electronics, beverages and butchers fear losing business due to lack of these amenities.
I miss money actually, yet I'm paying rent. I miss money, no printing. I'm not working in my room, which I pay rent from their staff. I operate, I slope down where I can get power, and I work on their stuff.
I want to wash hair, so we cannot really wash them, dry them, and blow dry. So we have always faced the challenges, and most of the time it is what keeps us at the salon, because not everyone comes to plate. It is there that we survive from, but right now.
So why I've been affected is because of the power issues. We don't run the machine without power.
Meanwhile, other vendors decry poor hygiene and insecurity in the market.
Market is very dirty inside. People are defecating inside. People who have fresh things are getting rotten. Even meat, if the meat sleeps or overstays for the next day, you can buy it and it has some rotten parts on it, even the maggots are there.
Vendors want Morocco municipality to separate electricity meters so that individuals can pay their own bills.
They would give every lockup here their own meter box, so that we would know how to manage our power. Right now,
we buy tokens from the market master. When the municipal council not token the other meter we have been, he has to go to the market master and he buys token and comes and he starts a card, then you get power. So if that meter is off, even this one, you cannot what? Cannot access power, even if you have the what? The token.
Cannot allow the vendor independently manage to pay the power independently. So it is a system that has one meter, then sub meters. So once the main meter doesn't have power token, then definitely these other vendors cannot get power. So that system is very bad. I don't support that system. Government should look for money and we redesign that system independently. So that has failed the market too.
Morocco Municipality Mayor Ismail Mohammed says the power and water crisis started in February and
local revenue from that market we collected the first quarter we collected 13 million. But our expense is up to 9 million. But it has been going down. This time round we have only collected 4 million and we expect to spend 7 million.
Vendors also want local government's mandate to utilize funds collected.
Months. We have not paid workers, we have not paid the cleaners, we have no fuel to run this new truck that we have bought. We were given this truck to keep managing. Sometimes we fail to get fuel because money has to come back from the central government to municipal council, then send it to the division, is when the market master will request for that money to spend.
To see that the ways of paying money to the activities of the market be changed in a way that vendor and municipal council can use money at the source if allowed.
Vendors started operating in Morocco Central Market on 1st March 2022, but most stores and lockups are still empty due to water shortage and lack of electricity.
To Entebbe now, where business experts and young, brilliant minds from different African countries are discussing the implementation of the African Continental Free Trade Agreement. The treaty seeks to enhance trade among African countries with new technology and innovations that will spur economic growth in Africa. Now, top on the agenda of the business summit is poor governance and border barriers associated with corruption that hinder the enhancement of the trade agreement.
Participants from Uganda, Kenya, Rwanda, Nigeria and other African countries have convened in Entebbe to exchange ideas on how best African countries can implement the African Continental Free Trade Agreement to boost trade among African countries.
We are here to see that we amplify the voice so that the African Continental Free Trade Area can move from being on paper, from rhetoric to practice.
Heads of state and government.
The agreement was signed by 44 African member states in Kigali, Rwanda on 21st March 2018, with a major opportunity for countries to boost growth, reduce poverty and broaden economic inclusion.
We cannot take the Continental Free Trade Area for granted. After it is signed, there will still be challenges. Any concerns of technical issues that remain should be addressed fairly, but also expeditiously.
Upon its implementation, countries looked at lifting 30 million Africans out of extreme poverty and boost the incomes of nearly 68 million others who live on less than $5 a day. The business summit is also looking at boosting Africa's income by $450 billion by 2035, while adding $76 billion to the income of the rest of the world and increase Africa's exports by $560 billion.
If our leaders do not settle their disputes, we are not going to prosper with African Continental Free Trade Area, because it starts with a fight between the two countries in terms of just meal products, and the next time it will cross even to human capital. Crossing the two countries will become a challenge.
However, during the engagement, business experts established a number of challenges hindering the implementation of the trade agreement among African countries that need urgent attention.
Still, many countries were able to sign and ratify the agreement, but the political will is still less. We are seeing ministers of trade and the president only talking about African Continental Free Trade Area, but there is no mechanical will to come down and get away with the barriers.
One of the major things that we can do to do away with these border harassments and restrictions is having a free movement of goods and people, whereby
this annual engagement aims at bringing together young leaders, libertarians, entrepreneurs, politicians to equip young people with free market opportunities and knowledge. This year's theme was innovation and entrepreneurship for a free and prosperous society.
Ugandan educationists based in South Africa have embraced government's new curriculum at Lower Secondary School of Learning to address inadequate skills and create competence among learners. Michael Biabada, a Ugandan living in South Africa, promised to partner with government in starting similar vocational institutions when government makes vocational training mandatory.
Some of the MOUs and memoranda.
Employers usually complain about the lack of skills at workplaces among workers, and this has hindered the performance of companies. The Ministry of Education and Sports launch of the new curriculum for vocational skilling at lower secondary levels will address incompetencies at work. An educationist, Michael Biabada, and the proprietor of Rustenburg in Northwest Province, Kwamalanga campus in Mpumalanga, South Africa, says vocational skilling is a key to national development.
Set up projects which were earmarked towards uplifting young people in skills which involve particularly computer skills. But then later I realized that it was also important to look at vocational skills. So when I did a skills audit, I realized that the skills which were really useful to young people included, among others, electrical engineering, mechanical engineering, and that is what drove me to start a vocational institution in terms of training that leads towards achievement of those objectives.
He applauds government for launching the new lower secondary school curriculum that will create competence among scholars.
There was a need for skills development. I was raised by the Ugandan education system, and it's what brought me here and what made me what I am today. However, I've also learned a lot from the South African education system, which I believe that if we can actually have a way of cooperating as African countries, there is a lot that we can learn from one another. For instance, within our sector of education and training, and as you've seen, we've been to some of the places, you will see that in the vocational space, South Africa places a lot of emphasis on skills that actually not only prepare young people to get into places of work, but they enable them to actually be job creators.
He looks forward to extending the vocational training courses across the African continent, starting with Uganda, although the initiative requires creating awareness.
Been in conversation with a number of people. My dream and passion has always been educating the African child. So I've already initiated those conversations with a number of stakeholders in Uganda, because as you will see, for these projects to pick up and become what they are, you need a number of stakeholders. You need the government to guide you as far as legislation works. You also need partners that you're going to work with. Criticism from the players, resistance, and people not understanding what was the purpose.
Ivan Juko, Wycliffe Mudash for UBC.
International news, and we go to Sudan, where the first international cargo shipment with medical supplies landed Sunday in Port Sudan. It's a glimmer of hope in the country where a conflict between the armed forces and a paramilitary group has put thousands of innocent civilians at risk, including children who are already severely malnourished.
With few medical supplies, Sudanese doctors have been struggling to treat more than 4,700 people who, according to Sudan's Ministry of Health, have been injured in the conflict between the Sudanese army and the paramilitary Rapid Support Forces. On Sunday, however, a sign of relief. 8 tons of humanitarian aid, including surgical materials, arrived in Port Sudan. Patrick Yosef is with the International Committee of the Red Cross.
I hope this will be only the first of a number of batches that will come, will be extremely crucial for the hospitals to be able to cater for the needs of thousands of people that are flocking to their doors and waiting to get medical assistance.
The conflict has also put the lives of more than 600,000 underfed Sudanese children in peril. They were already suffering from acute malnutrition before the conflict began, warned UNICEF's Chief of Field Operations in Sudan, Jill Lawler.
We know that ahead of this crisis, over 15 million people were in need of humanitarian assistance, and that included 8 million children. All the aerial bombardments, the attacks on facilities, the attacks on water infrastructure, the destruction of vital vaccine, that figure is going to go up.
The Sudanese who are dual nationals have flocked to Port Sudan, hoping to be evacuated. Professor Ali, who declined to provide his last name, told the Associated Press that he has a visa for the United Kingdom.
If you have, a foreign passport or any thing that will actually give you the chance to go outside, they will take it. And this is why everybody here is doing his best to go out of Sudan.
Many of the internally displaced, however, must rely on the generosity of strangers for accommodation and food. Wadi Halfal's resident, Naama Jabal Sayed Hassan, bakes bread for them near the border with Egypt.
The door of our house is open to any guests who come to us. We only hope that God will stop the wars and that both parties will agree to solve the situation.
The United Nations said 75,000 people have been displaced by the fighting in Khartoum and Darfur, among other regions. Veronica Valderas Iglesias, VOA News.
A widely anticipated spring counter-offensive in Ukraine will push on without American fighter jets in the skies. Now, this from Ukraine's president, who said waiting to train on advanced aircraft could signal a timeline to Russian forces on the ground. President Volodymyr Zelensky spoke as more deadly attacks hit Ukraine.
Ukrainian forces in southeastern Zaporizhia region late last week. Ukraine is expected to launch a long-anticipated spring counter-offensive following Russia's winter offensive, resulting in small gains despite bloody fighting. For months, Kyiv has requested advanced weaponry from the West, most recently asking for F-16 fighter jets or similar aircraft. To date, that has not happened in the public eye. Ukraine's president says there's no time left and that the counteroffensive will happen with or without advanced fighter jets.
Frankly speaking, it would help us a lot, but we also understand that we can't drag the counteroffensive out, which is why we'll start before we receive F-16s or other models. We'll start and go forward, while simultaneously, I think, receiving Western fighter craft is very important.
Zelensky spoke just one day after emergency workers and residents fought to unearth survivors of cruise missile strikes on a 9-story residential building. The Ukrainian Air Force says it shot down 21 of the 23 missiles launched by Russian aircraft, but the ones that did get through killed at least 23 people. In a video posted by the country's press service, Zelensky referred to Russia as a terrorist state, saying specifically, "Not only those who give orders, you are all terrorists and murderers, and you must be punished." Meanwhile, in the Donetsk region, a Russian drone strike hit another civilian target. A 31-year-old woman and her 2-year-old daughter were killed in the eastern city of Dnipro. In Crimea, at a massive fire at an oil facility, a possible sign of what's to come with or without Western fighter jets. The Russian-appointed official in this region blamed the blaze on a drone strike and reported no casualties. According to the Associated Press, the official didn't clarify the drone's origin, but Ukrainian drones have increasingly targeted Crimea in recent weeks. If and when Ukraine launches its counteroffensive, it will meet heavily fortified Russian positions months in the making, packed with landmines, tanks, and troops. Arash Arabasadi, VOA News.
Sports news now, and we begin with chess, where the Decode Inter-Schools Chess Championship has climaxed at Silver Spoon Primary School in Chiburi. It gathered 276 players from several schools from across the country. Here's our sports reporter John Barnes Sentamo with more.
After 8 rounds of competition, the Decode Inter-Schools Chess Championship has climaxed at Silver Spoon Primary School in Chiburi.
We organized this tournament titled Decode Inter-School Chess Competition. It's one of the tournaments we are going to use to select those who are going to participate in the national championships, which are going to be at Kisubi. The attendance has been 300. I'm impressed, though we never got sponsorship.
The competition was in several age categories, starting with the under-8 won by William Katerega among the boys and Mary Musimenta aged the girls. Other winners included Matthias Mugenyi, Haresh Anwitha, Jay Rawaswa, Macklin Nakatude, Jacob Keiru, Hailey Michelle, Jonathan Ndaula, Juliet Asaba and Alvin Mohirwa, who was the best overall player.
Zanyemu coaches yanjigiriza ngakale atugamba into tactics bichi atingane lero kanzilete kuche eno chess jatutwala mbizani.
Most sports you know as far as the success is concerned, the only key or the only magic is training. Banabana mbateka ku training almost on every day at chess. I give them everything because I'm an experienced coach. I've read chess, I've played chess, I've won trophies, I'm in the National League, I'm active in chess.
6-year-old Gold Mbowa got a special award at the championship that prepares players for next week's Father Grimes Chess Championship. John Barnes, Sentamo, YBC News.
Pool Association of Uganda has hosted its first calendar activity of 2023. This Pool Association Grand Open was hosted at Cass Bar and Restaurant in Kansanga. Take a watch.
Joseph Kasozi and Rashida Mutesi have emerged as respective gender champions at the Pool Association of Uganda Grand Open Championship. For Rashida Mutesi, it was a smooth sail 8-3 victory over Ritani Mosima to retain her title of the tournament hosted at Casban Restaurant in Kansanga. The men's final was, however, a little different, with Joseph Kasozi needing grit and expertise to come from an 8-6 deficit at some stage to edge informed Cesar Chandiga 9-8 after a decider set. Habib Sabuguzi was third in the men's category with Ibra Sejemba fourth, while Michelle Chomugisha and Rose Namugero were third and fourth respectively in the ladies section. Each of the top 8 players in both categories received cash prizes from the tournament organizers, highlighted by Casban Restaurant.
Especially for being part of the organizing committee that made thousands of our people to be happy. I am more than happy.
Up next is the National Pool League, due later this month. John Barnes, Centum, GBC News.
And finally, let's look at football, where Proline Football Club has missed a glorious chance to go top of the Scorpion Group of the Kampala Region Football League after falling 2-0 to Black Stars at Kanyanya. Black Stars, that prides in top players like Yasser Mugerwa, now top the standings with 41 points, which is 4 better than second-placed Proline, that has played a game more. Proline will return to action on Saturday against Kazo at the MTN Philip Omondi Stadium in Lugogo. The nature of this Kampala region football is of 2 groups, Scorpion and Cobra. The top team from each group will face each other to determine who plays the Buganda region winner for a place in the FUFA Big League next season. And that brings us to the end of this bulletin. Thank you so much for having kept us company. My name is Rukiddi Kinjanangoma, wishing you a blessed night and see you tomorrow.
UBC, inspiring Uganda.